Welcome to the mayhem, welcome to the heat, where the food's fucking fire and the talk's elite. No filters, no fakes, just flames and control. If you can't take the burn, better fucking roll. Too fucking hot, tough luck, don't quit. No escape, once you step inside. Feel the flames, nowhere to hide. No rules, no mercy, no fucking filters. This is control, burn, let's fucking go.
This Bambi, she was actually bottle raised, and she's half Jersey, half Angus. And we're enjoying that she's half Angus. The Jersey cows, they just don't do very well with this northern climate that we have here.
No, you have Jersey too before it didn't winter well.
Yeah, they don't winter well, and I mean, I'm a little bit hardy with my animals for sure. I mean, that's why I raise buffaloes, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's she's half Angus. And we bottle fed her, and we're going to meet Thumper later. And Thumper was raised with her as well. So we had a bison calf and a bovine calf that we bottle fed.
Oh, okay.
So we actually, so her and Thumper were raised together. She is now 4 years old, just about there. This is meditating for a little bit. Just milk the cow. And yeah, so I like to do it just more for meditating, and it strengthens the hands too, right? Homesteading career here, and keep trying to get everything here with this. With the milk cow, all I do is just keep the calf with the cow the whole time. So sometimes I don't get very much milk. Sometimes I get a whole bunch. It's just for, the milk's just for me and my family, so, you know, we're not really looking to get a whole bunch of milk, as long as we got enough for our cereal and for the baby and stuff like that. But it's been a big game changer for me, drinking farmer's milk, or milk from a cow directly, non-pasteurized. I used to not be able to drink milk at all before, and now since we've been drinking this stuff, you'll see here soon, I'll just drink it right from the tail, and that's sort of actually one of my luxuries of the day, is to drink warm milk from the breast of the cow. Hey, let Dad drink some first, okay? Kitty cats too?
Yeah.
Kitty cats are most important, eh?
Cat's milk.
All right, let's. Where's your feeder? Yeah, that's how they get so big, you know? Lick it up. Oh, don't worry. Yeah, this is our cat buffalo Thumper. Like I was saying before, she was raised up with Bambi. Oh, you don't want to ride her today? Okay. We won't, you don't have to ride her. But yeah, she's been a great dog. When you start bottle feeding them stuff, they could be practically dogs. And we let her come up to the house and whatever we want with her. She's usually more or less a big nuisance, so you can imagine having a too big of a dog and hanging around your house. It can cause some troubles, but we enjoy it. We're used to them. So there you go. She wants to come see you guys. Almost maybe 4 now. Oh, did you lose your glove? Okay, let's put your glove back on. Oh, there it is. Your dad will get it.
So we're here at Alberta Bison Ranch on scenes with Neil and his daughter Delilah. We're gonna have some tomatoes and some fresh milk that we milked earlier that we just took.
Nope, got some Ivan salami.
Nice. We don't cry over spilled milk. Free cheese.
Yeah.
You see that?
We make this, call this the Klondike sausage, and it's just a mixture of everything, of all our products just put together.
That's good. Well, that's really good. That's very good flavor.
Definitely the top favorite.
For a domesticated red meat, it is probably my favorite. Okay, let's see if I tolerate fresh dairy, unpasteurized dairy. Oh, that's good.
You know, it's a different flavor, red wheat, eh?
Yeah,
Of course, this
thank you.
hasn't even been chilled yet.
No, it's still kind of warm.
Oh,
I have this one.
This one.
It tastes like what you would expect milk to taste, but it doesn't have the watery background. Okay, well, everybody that listens to my podcast knows who I am, but they don't know who you are. So introduce yourself and tell us how you came to be here.
Well, my name is Neil Hochstein, and actually raised up in Pincher Creek, Alberta there, on my dad's feedlot there. And my grandpa, Tom Muirheim, he was the guy who had started this place up. He was originally from Germany, and he came here and he sold some lady a craft mixer. Back in the day, he was selling mixers.
Oh, okay. Like door to door?
Yeah. And this is, well, it'd be in the 50s, right? So just after the war, so everyone not much going around. So all these ladies were buying dried milk, and he would sell them this craft mixer. And then he went to one farm there, and they didn't have any money to pay for a mixer, but they made a deal and they traded him a cow.
Oh, okay.
So he came home and he told his wife there, my grandma, that Millie, that he traded her mixer for a cow. So she had then told him, well, you bloody idiot, what we're going to do with one cow, we might as well go back and get two. So that's how they found this place and came here. He still was 10 in Edmonton for 10 years. They raised a family, my mom, and then continued raising this place. And they, by 1964 something, he had settled here. And I took over in 2004
Okay.
over from him.
So 20 years ago, roughly? 21 this year?
Yeah. So I've been here for 20 years. Yeah. And then, so I was out about traveling around, and I had decided to take on these buffaloes. I really enjoyed it, and I really do love the land up here with the rolling hills and stuff. It's pretty cool. So
Thank you. I'm going to skip this one, though.
my grandpa and I, we started this venture, and he had buffaloes beforehand, actually.
Okay.
So he got his buffaloes in 1980 there, and he was one of the first people to get buffaloes here. And there was actually a neighbor here who had a little bit of buffaloes, and so he ended up partnering up with his uncle in Germany there, and they went and got this going, and I came over. At the time, we had more cattle, so we had quite a few cattle then, and I've kind of switched over to having now mostly cows. We do have 60 beef cows, and I really do enjoy the beef cows. Lets me put the cowboy hat on and get on the horse at least, right? Otherwise, with the buffaloes, we don't do any riding with them. We're just mainly move them on their own, and we can move them on their own there. And
You just walk behind them and move them? Or just how do you just open the gate and let them go?
no, yes. So buffalo will always go wherever you don't want it to go. You can't tell buffalo where to go, right? And so if the best is to let them go in on their own.
Makes sense.
Just we practice with feeding them in an area, let them get in there. Curiosity killed the cat, right? It's always.
I couldn't imagine manhandling a buffalo back again.
I mean, I've tried to push them in, and that's definitely not the best way to do it. More fun for yourself than it is for them.
It's just like a rodeo.
Yeah, it's your own made rodeo.
But you're the clown, and they're running you around.
So we had a lot more cattle. We went back to. I really wanted to do the bison. prices were really bad at that time. Buffalo was really down. And I decided to go with the farmer's market.
Okay.
And so I started out in St. Albert. I started out here in Merithorpe, in all the small towns, and really pushed it pretty good. And I kind of started at a good time where farmers markets were just becoming a good thing. So I really did that, and then I was selling to a lot of restaurants and down Edmonton on the way to Adler and stuff. And so I really enjoyed that. Now we're selling a lot of animals to the States, to North Star Bison.
Okay.
And they do grass-fed bison there as well, and marketing and stuff. So we're really wanting to support them and do that. And as well, we have still a farmer's market at Bountiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's where I did buy your products from and try them originally. That's how I found out about you. And
yeah.
just comparing it to other meat, I noticed a huge difference in just the flavor. So I just noticed just a darker red meat. So I've bought bison from the grocery store tons of times just because it's leaner than beef. I prefer a red meat. I love any kind of rare red steak is my favorite. I prefer like a blue rare steak. I don't think you should cook it any other way. But yeah, it's been pretty good. I enjoyed the tour this morning. I know we didn't get to go the full route, but we'll go check out some things later. It's a little bit cold today, -27. But yeah. So sticking with the buffalo, whatever anybody wants to call it, they're the same breed. So
Yeah. So buffalo and bison is. I like to call them both because I think buffalo's kind of romantical.
yeah, a little bit.
That's it, right? And bison. But yeah, it comes right back to the Asian buffalo. So there you got your Asian buffalo, you got your wildebeest, you got the water buffalo, and all these things would usually come with the buffalo. So I'll get a lot of people asking me for buffalo and expecting it to be an Asian buffalo. And so yeah, different animal for sure, but with the big horn. So and the bison is actually what they're typically called. I think we've more formed it as an industry. I like to kind of say bison when I'm talking about meat, and then as a wild running animal, I call it a buffalo.
That makes sense. I don't really know, like for us being in Manitoba for 20 years, we always called it bison just because Manitoba bison, it's like our actual like national animal. The University of Manitoba is the team bison, right? So you just kind of get used to calling it bison. My kids went to French school, so they call it with a French accent, so bison or whatever.
Makes it sound even more delicious.
Exactly, it just makes it taste good. And I mean, French know what they're doing with food, so. What kind of steered you towards, like, what do you eat most of, I guess, in your household then? Do you eat more bison red meat, or do you eat more steers, or?
No, we I mean, of course, it's because I sell the meat and remove a lot of, I always get out the offcuts.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I'm
well,
okay the ones that
make
make it, right? And even saying that, I still eat really good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I get to eat a lot of meat.
It's fresh and not pumped full of water, and it didn't travel in a truck to a slaughterhouse, so it's ready to go.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of things about that now where you can, having a private sale compared to buying it from a grocery store. So there's this opportunity where you can harvest the animal and get it to a personal customer and actually have them eat that, right? So that hasn't traveled in a trailer, gone to a plant and all that stuff. So that's a huge thing. If you can find a neighbor, a friend, or a fellow rancher, let's say, call someone in the agriculture business to supply you and have someone that you're getting your source from and to put a story to that food, right?
And I think that's important, just to know the source of your ingredients and to pay attention to like what you're putting in your body. I mean, for us, just a little bit of background from our perspective is, I mean, I've always liked food. I always like to cook. And I recently lost 75 pounds just by paying attention to what I'm putting in my body and, not using my food account to be an excuse to overeat or go out to eat in like film and restaurants and stuff like that. So, just changing into like more of a meat-based diet with, vegetables and less carbs and stuff like that's been huge. But like for me, red meat is like my favorite anyway. I would take that over chicken any day. But like, do you notice when you're like, well, do you have to buy any meat from the grocery store? When's the last time you bought some meat from the grocery store?
I might have eaten bought a burger at A&W. As far as
and how does that taste compared to your bison burger that you make at home?
Yeah.
We're not, A&W, don't sue us. We're fine. A&W has its place. They do make really good coffee.
Yeah, I haven't gone. I go to the grocery store for much. I mean, definitely my lady does more of the grocery shopping, but we don't even shop much at the grocery store.
You're able to kind of grow everything here?
We grow everything here, and then I'll trade some fish for some bison. Those guys on the coast, they love bison.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
And we inlanders, we love our fish. So
Yep.
I get fish, always freezer full of fish and meat. And
You have a big garden in the summertime?
yeah, no, that's the lady's project there.
Nice.
And she loves that back garden.
Then
She grows up.
Candies
No, she does a lot of potatoes this year. We had more potatoes than we know what to do with.
Well, there you go.
So,
That's good.
yeah.
I heard that Alberta had a better growing season this year than they did last year. I don't know what zone you guys are here. I think you're zone
3, yeah, 4. You can get to 4, I believe. But
I
3.
think so. I'm
Yeah,
not quite
4.
sure. There's less fruit trees. I know that don't survive as much up here just because the weather kind of goes all over the place in the summertime. But yeah, it's interesting for sure. I think it's good to raise your own food, buy as little as possible from the grocery store. But I just think nowadays it's so hard to source ingredients that you can't really find it. And even if you do go to the grocery store, you don't know really what you're buying, even with the label.
Well, it's always the same label, right? I mean, all these stores, the same label I've been seeing for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, you got your big people, and then you go in there, and it's just those are your choice, whichever. And it's neat. I even went to a couple of different grocery stores and noticed different labels. So now you can go to a different store. You have to go to one big store to get one label. To go to another big store, get a different label.
Well, and that's mainly what it is. It's all the same 7 companies that are. I find the biggest thing with grocery stores now too is they change the legislation, so they can leave the label saying it's it doesn't have any dye or certain things in it because they changed the batch size. So if they make a smaller batch, they don't have to put the dye in the label anymore. So it's like you're still trying to buy stuff for your kids or whatever that doesn't have dye in it. I mean, we're not perfect. We still like to buy craft dinner and candies and things like that. I have 3 kids, so they still eat junk food every once in a while. But it's hard to kind of figure out where to source your ingredients if you don't have somewhere to grow it. But I think, like what you were saying, if you can find a farmer or find a rancher that you can buy direct from, that's the way to go for sure. So are you, like you say, you sell mostly wholesale, do you sell direct to consumer too as well? Like if somebody wanted to get like a quarter or half of a bison or a yak or a rabbit or everything that you have here?
Yeah, so we have our webpage there, albertabison.ca, and that has helped out a lot. A lot of people just can think of Alberta Bison, and that helps. So that's been the goal for with right now, try and get people going that way with a quarter of bison. Then we sell half a bison, we'll sell an eighth of a bison. I don't like forcing people to buy a whole bunch of big meat. I don't want someone buying, like there's small families out there now, right?
For sure, yeah.
And that's, so they can't afford to, or not that they can even afford it, but who wants to have a big chest freezer full and diving in looking for a piece of meat all the time, right? So,
well, and also if they can't eat it in a certain amount of time too.
there's a lot of concerns that way. I really like to try to get it so that the customers are purchasing it twice a year, so that like what you want. So I'll even do an eighth of a bison, like say quarters samples as well. We're doing some deliveries. We have a delivery truck, and for a certain amount of dollars, we'll deliver to your place.
Oh, okay.
So right now it's $250. So if you buy $250 worth of product from us, we're happy to deliver in Edmonton or around the area.
Well, that's not bad at all because Edmonton's like about an hour and a bit away. Anyway,
And we're going there for our marketing stuff, and we just kind of want to try to. So deliveries are available and stuff, and I think that, and we do tours here as well. Like let people come out here, pick up your beef. That's what I would do.
Yeah, well,
Right?
it's unique to see. It was a unique experience this morning, and
Yeah.
going to see, the yaks are pretty cool. I've never seen a yak in real life other than at the zoo. But so, what does a yak taste like?
Yaks are cool. They got a sweet flavor.
Okay.
They're very lean, very small animals. So your carcass sizes are smaller.
Okay.
They're very, very dense meat. So, and then meat that takes longer to raise. So a yak, they take over your 24 months period, 28 months. They get into maybe even 32 months.
Oh, really? Okay.
Before they're finished. And so you got quite a flavor there with that. And I noticed that even with bison bison, usually it's 24 months, 28 months that they're finished.
Okay.
So on a grass-fed diet for sure, like 24, 28 months, right? So
Well, I feel like grass fed is better. Do you find that you have to grain in this climate, or are you pretty good with just grass for bison?
yeah, no, the grain could be available. Like I do have neighbors and stuff here that have grain and stuff. And we will maybe start substituting some of the animals with a little bit of grain there during like the breeding stock and those two animals. But for the feeding, we're just doing grass fed for the finished animals and all that.
Well,
It's easier for me. The hay's all over the place here. We're thankful to ground and stuff. We got the land, like the land is available, right? So when you got some land available and you want to just raise those animals on that land and feed them the hay, then it makes sense to me. For me to go out there buying grain and stuff out there is just looking at another commodity. So I'm not purchasing from my local area.
Well, and then you don't know, like it's also highly processed grain, animal feed, right?
Yeah, it can be. Yeah.
If you're getting it
Yeah,
locally, then
pellets.
it's not the same thing. But if you're getting like commercial feed
Yeah,
brought
yeah.
in, then you're
Yeah. I mean, everything here is all not organic as can be, right? We're all old farmers here. It's just your neighbor just farming his 30 acres, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
you're more or less helping out the community on that part. So,
How much land do you have for your bison here?
well, we work with about 1,500 acres around here.
That's a good amount. You can cultivate and harvest your own hay for the most part.
That's right. Yeah, we're fully self-sustainable here, actually.
That's
We do all our own work. So we're self-sustainable in all ways that we're feeding the animal all our own feed, and the animal is finished on its own here. It was raised here, born from a calf, here. And then we're slaughtering the animal either at a plant and then selling the meat as well.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's pretty good. So right start to finish, and then so for when you want to do something where you're having the beef cattle, you have Black Angus out there and yaks and bison. How do you know how much hay you're going to need for a year? Or you just kind of know from experience?
I just know a lot more from experience. I'm kind of a smell the air sort of guy. I've
Kinda go
always
with
known
it.
what I mean. They take every month or so they'll one bale, right?
Okay.
So a person definitely has to watch out and try to make sure that they have enough, because that's always our biggest concern is having enough feed for the animals. And so we'll go in there and I'll measure how many bales I have and see. But yeah, it becomes a pretty dramatic thing actually to find out how much hay you have, and if you're going to have enough, what kind of winter you're going to have, and like that. Yeah.
My daughter has horses, so she plays that guessing game. It's pretty easy to guess how much we need, and our winters are pretty predictable in Manitoba. They're not like up here where they're
Put them away.
the weather changes its mind every 5 minutes. So I think that this whole area and this boreal forest area, it's just with the rolling hills and the mountains being only a short distance away, you never know what you're going to get for weather. But yeah, I think it's good. Like for the bison themselves, how many do you have to keep over the winter? Can you keep all your females, and like when is let's start with that question. I got so many questions. How many females or bison do you have to keep over the winter? So you say you raise the meat ones for 2 years at least?
Well, we have to have your herd. You have to have all your cows. So how many calves are you wanting to have? And then plus you have to raise that calf now for 2 years. So you don't, like a lot of people, it's a hard question to ask. How many buffaloes do you have? Well, are you talking about the cow herd itself? Are we talking about the feeders, or are we talking
it's a
about
variable
the finishing
question.
animals? So
Like how many females breeding stock do you like to keep in order to make sure that you can keep yourself sustainable?
well, I like to feed about 200 animals.
Okay.
So I have myself 140 cows,
Okay.
and I will purchase from my neighbors as well as other plains animals that. So I'm a pure plains breeder.
Okay.
So I'm trying to always bring in some animal bloodline into my herd, and so I'll bring other animals in, and so I have 120 animals, and I'm wanting to finish 200 animals at the end of that 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
That's quite the operation.
Yeah, it sure is. And so then there's so much that would be for private sales for the farmers markets, right? And doing that, and also because we're grass fed, so it's harder for us to finish the animal. So, I only decided to finish so many because then, you're to finish a whole bunch, I would have to market all that.
Right, exactly.
And everything like that and make more work for myself. So definitely got enough work for myself.
So that 200 animals or the 120 to 200 animals is just your buffalo herd.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, and then for the yaks, because they take a lot longer, you said sometimes like 32 months to finish a yak?
Yeah.
So do you ship any yaks or do you just finish them all
No,
here?
we just finish them all here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a small herd, just enough to supply my market there, the farmers market. A few people are buying halves and wholes and stuff, and a little bit of a breeding market. I mean, for me, if I was an acreage owner, that would be my prime choice animal to have.
They're very cool.
Yeah, they're just cool to look at, and you can domesticate them, and you can get, you can really start spending some time with them and stuff.
Have you had the milk from a yak?
They'd be same thing as a bison. It would be very small udders, so not
Okay.
very rich milk.
Right.
So the Himalayan people
Milk them.
right?
Yeah.
So they're not friendly. You ready to go head out?
How many yaks do you have? How did you get into that?
Sorry.
How many yaks do you have and how did you get into yaks?
I pretty well bought my first yak before I even saw it. I heard that we could get yaks, and at the yak ranch, Jennifer there, she sold it to me. She's now here, actually a neighbor as well on Wildwood, but she was at Caroline that time.
Okay.
And I picked some up from there. And so we've been running with her yaks here, and now we also have some in BC as well.
Okay.
Now we've got a dozen of them out there. So I knew her out there, and
That's pretty cool.
yeah, they're like sheep, you can really tell that they were raised up in the mountains and stuff here. Down here we have some hoof problems because they can't not walking on hard enough ground and rocks. They're in BC. We're not having that problem.
Okay,
So
so do you have to get them trimmed? Like, how would you do that?
Yeah, we trim them.
Just as a barrier? Like, or do you do it yourself?
Yeah, I do it myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you could trim its nails, I think you could milk it. I think this is a goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you could cut its nails, I can milk it at the same time. It would be interesting. They look very cool. I haven't seen them close up yet. We're gonna head out and take a look at them right away.
Yeah.
But so the Jersey cow that you milk every day, you said that's Jersey Angus cross, and Bambi. How'd you come about to have her?
Well, I got Bambi. I had another cow beforehand, a Jersey cow, and she didn't do very good in the winter. They don't do very good. And so we ended up with this Angus. She gave us a calf, right to an Angus, and I kept her calf. And and then we also bottle fed this little baby buffalo with it too.
Which is Thumper in the footage earlier. You
Yeah.
see that? Yeah. And they're both 4 years old now?
They're both
3 years?
Yes, 4 years. Yeah, they're 4
Okay.
years old.
So, and then you just bring her back in when she has a calf, you milk her, or do you just keep her milking year round?
Just when she has a calf around. I'd sort of practice as a lazy farmer sort of style. Like if you don't get as much milk when you leave her with the calf and stuff, and then I only milk once a day instead of twice a day.
Oh, yeah. What if it's enough for you to have, then that's all.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm getting a gallon a day. That's a lot of milk to consume. So
Yeah, it is. And this is just completely straight from her, not even separated, right?
that's right.
So do you ever let it separate and do anything with the cream, or
Yeah, we'll let it separate, and of course, cream is
you can make some butter and
make some butter.
cheese?
Butter and cheese.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, can I have those? You closed it?
Yeah.
Good.
Open it.
Keep it closed, okay?
Yeah, I think that, I don't know. The rabbits. We didn't talk about the rabbits. We didn't talk about the rabbits.
Rabbits are pretty cool. I'm trying a lot of times, a lot of learning, especially because of doing the community, the culture, the community living. So community living is where what we do is we'll have 4 does in there and 1 buck.
Okay.
And then you get the babies and stuff. Where a lot of the practice is to have your doe separate,
Okay.
and just bring it in with the buck, get it bred, and then put it back out.
Do you find it works better with the community living, or?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
But it's maybe it's just I enjoy having seen the bison together. So let's work on to do it this way. Not so controlled, but they are very they're a vicious little animal. Really, I mean, they're pretty hard on each other. They got some big hind legs that they can kick each other with and stuff for sure. And they'll kill each other babies and all these vicious little things that they do. So we're growing in a community, you have more of that happening.
Oh, okay.
So
And how would you describe rabbit meat? I've never eaten rabbit meat.
Rabbit meat. Everyone says it tastes like chicken.
I've heard that.
I don't really believe in that. I believe it tastes like rabbit. It's definitely not like chicken. I mean, it's fat. It's got fattier. The fat tastes different.
Okay.
It's a white meat. It's like saying bison tastes like beef. No, it doesn't. So it's the same color, but no, it's not chicken. So
Well, I'll have to try some. I've had all kinds of poultry, so I mean, I would be able to tell if it tastes like any kind of poultry. My favorite poultry is duck over chicken. Anyway.
Yeah, duck is beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's a completely different flavor than chicken.
It is. Right. Yeah. I think we covered all the animals.
Yeah. What we got
You got the whole thing here. You forgot the rest of them in the name of your ranch. You could just take out the bison, just Alberta Ranch, everything.
Yeah.
Well, do you raise chickens for yourself?
We raise the chickens as well, and that's just more eggs for ourselves and some ducks. And this year I counted out there. I got 4 geese.
Okay.
So I definitely don't need 4 geese. They're because all I really do is honk, right? So
I don't like geese. My husband likes geese, and they are vicious, and I hate them.
So we're gonna have a good Easter.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, the delicious Easter.
My husband keeps them as pets. I'm not allowed to put them into freezer camp, so they're his best buds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't like them at all. They chased my one friend up and over the quad. She was watching our house one time.
Are they breeding? Yeah, and giving you more and more?
They were, yep. And then we did try to give some away, and nobody wants them because they're crazy. They're psychopaths. They are very much guardians. Caitlin got along with them fine, but we had one that was pretty crazy.
No use, bigger white ones. And I don't know what his name was, but he pinned me to the ground and he was biting at my neck.
Oh, geez.
And that's when Dad taught me to grab it right underneath the neck. And then since then, the geese are scared of me.
I won't even go in the chicken coop without a rake. I don't even, there's no way. I have to go in with a rake because they just come out. But yeah, I think we covered all the animals. Could probably hit stop. And we'll go outside. Do some more footage outside. gonna go feed some ladies.
Yeah. So when it's cold, the bison will have 4 stomachs. So because they have 4 stomachs, it takes all that energy to keep warm. So when it's cold out, they eat more. So and we want to keep them warm, so we're going to feed them. That's the circle of this ritual. So yeah, the bison, you know which direction a bison always walks into. They always walk into the storm, right? They have more protection in the front. They have their shoulders are bigger. That's where the hair is up front, and so that's why they're always approaching the storm in the front there. The breeding season is in August, so it's all the same thing as the bovine. Same digestion period, all that. 9 months it takes. So yeah, it's all the same sort of days.
Do you preg test everybody, or do you just
No. There's some ranches that do. We don't preg check our bison. I just kind of try to pick them out. Bison won't have a calf every year. They can sometimes shut down and not have a calf. So I like to watch them a little bit. I'll keep a record of which ones haven't calved. Yeah, you're mainly just getting to. I honestly don't even really make notes. I was just kind of just watching them and just kind of knowing which ones are looking.
memory kind of situation?
Yeah. So you can usually tell which ones are not having a calf as well, because usually that's when I'll be going out there and harvesting one or something. That's the one without a calf. I like to just kind of pick out the older ones and try to get rid of the older ones, the weaker ones, and keep the healthier ones.
So for like an Angus, that's what we raised. You can breed for about 8 to 11 years. Is it the same for a bison?
No, bison can be up to about 20, even higher.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So, but we like to usually about 20 years old or so is usually how old they get. Bison is in its prime between 10 and 15 years old to be actually in their prime. So
when do they start breeding?
They get bred after 2 years old.
Okay.
So with bovine again, yeah, you're kind of
A little bit younger.
Yeah, you're younger, so it definitely makes a big difference being a year, waiting another year. But yeah, they're
like they eat a lot more.
Bison?
Bigger, yeah.
No, they'll eat less actually.
Oh, really?
The bison, yeah, because their metabolism really shuts down in the wintertime. And so because their metabolism really shuts down in the wintertime, they don't eat much in the winter. But then as well, what makes it difficult is that they also don't gain as much weight as well. So because their metabolism shuts down, they're not really eating a whole bunch of feed to make energy. They're not needing the energy because they don't really burn it off. They know how to stay pretty quiet and calm in the winter. No, unless you've done something wrong, they shouldn't escape. Yeah, no, the trick is that they always come back to where they got out.
Okay.
So if you, I've had a couple times where we tried to get them into a different hole because where they had gone out was too difficult to get back. And that was always quite the big showdown, a lot of quite crazy thing happening there.
What's the worst experience you've had as a farmer?
Well, these animals, once we had some land and it was by a community pasture, some crown land, and they got out on us there, and that's what I was talking about, where there was they got out through some muskeg. So when we tried to push them back, we tried to push them any other way, and they didn't want to go back, and they didn't want to go back the way how they got out, because it would have to go through muskeg. So we had quite a few horses and people running around trying to get put some pressure on these animals to get them in. We finally got them, and it was just because they just got tired of us chasing them. Yeah, and they kind of just figured, okay, well, we'll come back home.
So you put the bales on the end, and then you just take the twine off and leave it, or you roll it up?
Yeah. So we just did a simple trail grazing thing there. Just put it out there, and they'll take care of themselves. We don't have to worry. So with the bison, what's a really big example, actually, what I'm to see here is we're going out there right now. We're going to feed 20 bales of hay, and you wouldn't do that with a bovine. You'd go out there every day and feed them 2 bales every day.
Just make a mess out of it.
Yeah, they're here. These guys, they're just going to eat what they need to eat. That's all they're interested in, because their metabolism's a lot slower, so they're not going to indulge into this hay and eat a whole bunch of it. They're going to just eat all that they need, and they're not going to go sit in it and poop in it and pee on it. And yeah, for sure. These bales here would probably weigh about 1,400 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Stuff that you grew and
No, actually, I bought this just from my neighbor here. That's why we had to go to town to get it from him. And yeah, he has just a few of these bales here that he didn't sell. So we're picking them up and bringing them out here. That's why we did the convoy with a truck and a trailer. I'm gonna have to do it differently next time, I guess. Don't get a bumper ripped off. Yeah, these are. Yeah. We got the bumper. Yeah, we're loaded up a whole bunch of bales on the trailers, and just with 4 or 5 inches of hard drifted snow, we were stuck. So I had the guy hook me up to with his tractor, and we tried with the tractor, and then we were stuck there too. And but I guess he wanted to try a little bit harder, so he gave it a little bit extra pull and pulled off my bumper. Well, let's go 1,400 times 10. That's 100, and yeah. It's a lot of weight, enough weight on the dead pole.
Yeah, once you stop and you sink in, it's a lot.
She got a knife?
Oh yeah, she always has a knife. She never goes anywhere without a knife and boots and gloves and stuff like that. So if you're ever short a hand, you give her a call. She works for next to nothing, maybe a snack or two. She loves this stuff.
They can age till they're 25 years old. In a domestic world, these cows, they can be up to 25. The calves, they pop out orange. They're really small little calves, probably like 50 pounders, little calves. So that's why calving is not really an issue with these guys. No, they're really small little calves. They're very agile, and they get up right away. They get up and go. They got lots of go to them. That's not a problem at all.
How long do you keep the breeding male for?
Breeding male will last for about, usually I like to keep them until about 8 years old.
Okay. And then does that still go for meat?
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So the herd bulls, the proteins are so big and their muscles are just become such big. You could actually see it in the muscle. It's pretty tough meat. And that's, I think, where a lot of our mistakes happened in the beginning of the industry. Was we were trying to grow so much, right? So all the females were being kept back, and all the bulls were also being kept back. So because everyone was trying to get breeding, and we were learning that these bulls are better to be harvested for meat at under the age of 3, and not much older. You can use it older, but it's better to grind it up or to make some type of sausage or something out of it, because they're just, they get pretty tough. And that's, I think, at the very beginning of our industry where we were learning that. I've harmed ourselves a little bit learning that you don't want to have an animal, but the same thing in the bovine world as well, right? Like, you don't want to have an animal.
Yeah, we like to just stick with chickens and sheep, just because the overall cost and the return was better for us at the time when you're not doing it 100% of your time.
Well, why not goats?
Because they don't stay in the fence.
Yeah.
They climb on everything, your vehicles, your houses, your windows. Sheep are calm. If they have food and water, they won't go nowhere. They never escape. They never try to get anywhere. Goats will just destroy everything and climb on everything. They're so playful and destructive. They're cool, but yeah, if it doesn't hold water, it's not holding a goat. It's got to be like a full cement wall that they can't climb, because they can climb anything.
Yeah, no, I've tried to raise goats a couple times, and it's always been didn't work out for me.
Yeah, the sheep we've had has always been super easy. Hogs, we tried raising those a few times, and they just eat too much. It's impossible.
Yeah, that's why they call them pigs.
Yeah. Well, I like to try to not supplement I would rather just be able to feed hay. So sheep I could feed only hay. We could do grass fed. We know where it came from. We knew the field wasn't sprayed. And then with hogs, there's absolutely no way, because you would have to always buy commercially genetically modified grain. There's no way of any way around it. It's something minor, just enough to feed our own family. But if you can find people like you, where we can just go purchase directly from the farm and we don't have to put any work into it, it's kind of fun too.
Yeah.
Don't have to go out in this -30. I don't have to. So. That's not so bad.
No.
I've become a little bit spoiled when it comes to this. So you said this is 20 bales?
Yeah, so we're putting 20 bales in, and this will last us then probably a week. Well, with this cold wind and stuff, maybe only 10 days.
Yeah, it's supposed to be cold again until... It is going to be sunny though, but the wind is supposed to be crazy.
Again, eh?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I hate the wind.
Yeah, it reminds. That's why I moved away from Pincher Creek.
You can't even feel the winter. I have to wear a t-shirt underneath it. I can't put a sweater under it or a sweat. It's quite a warm jacket.
No, I can't wear too warm jackets.
No. Well, especially when you're doing stuff outside. It's just too much.
Yeah. No, all I wear is just a denim pair of coveralls, and that's it.
Yeah, Kate is insulated coveralls and insulated jacket and a heated vest.
But she's still out there.
Yeah, oh yeah, she works outside pretty much all the time. She'll never complain. Do you keep the baby bulls with the mums or the steers? I guess with you.
We don't castrate them. So the bison, we don't castrate them. Never.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we never castrate them. We'll wean them. Usually we'll wean them in January. Is the best time to wean them. Sometimes we've even weaned them in November. You can wean them in November as well. Find that if you do it in November and stuff, it's kind of nice because the weather, you don't get all this ice or sporadic storms and stuff. January, we always have a nice couple weeks in January where we can do it as well. So we'll do it then. If you wean them in March, if you wean them after winter, the cows, there's just too much work on the cows. And then you end up working them in the later part of the season, which is hard on them as well. Okay, if we can close that gate, then we'll...
So if you never wean them, how do you breed the moms that are...
No, we wean them. We wean them in November.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we'll wean the calves. And what works really good is, for us, is that we actually load the calves in the trailer right away. And right as soon as we're sorting them off, we load them up in the trailer and we bring them home.
So that's what's north of your property right now, is the calves?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that would be all the calves. So from where this main herd is here, and where the calves are, that they're 2 miles apart.
Right. Okay.
So that works really nice. You can bring the animals away from the cows, and we don't have to worry about them trying to, get to the fence, get to their parents or anything like that, get to their mothers. Yeah.
And then you bring the
bulls. So the bulls can actually stay with the herd.
Oh, okay.
The only reason why we separate them is just to kind of give more interest to the cows, so that when they do get in there, they have a little bit more interest. But you can actually keep the bulls with the cows the whole season, and they just breed like wild animals do. They just know when the females are cycling, and they kind of watch for that. So that's a bigger thing for sure.
Okay. So how many bulls would you have to these girls here?
So we run them usually about every 20 cows to a bull. Relatively well. You'll always find one that's fought itself or lost its battle. So that's kind of one thing that you do have to watch, is to make sure that they don't lose their battle, because they'll lose their battle. And that'll be southern region that we're growing up here. So they're a little bit of a bigger animal. It's sort of like a similarity to an Angus and a Limousine sort of style. So your plains animals, they're a bigger. The woods would be like Limousine, because they're a little bit tall. Like Limousine or woods, they would be a taller animal, longer frame, bigger framed, and on that. Where plains, they're smaller frames, but they're easier to fill out because they're structured. They're a little wider animal. So that's the reasoning for the two different things of the animals. You can tell a lot by their hair. These ones here, you'll see a lot of hair behind the horns, and that's a sign of them being plains, where if you see a lot of hair in front of the horns, that's a sign of being woods. Big one thing I always look at is plains will have a hill as a hump, and the woods animals, they'll have a mountain as a hump. So their hump is a lot more pointier, more aggressive than plains bison.
So when you butcher a 2.5 years old, or what?
Yeah, so we harvest ours between 24 and 28 months.
Okay, so what, like, I know when you buy a half beef, you get about 360 pounds or 350 pounds. How many pounds would you get if you were to get a half of a bison?
Yeah, well, they dress out similar to the same. There's about 1% less, by 1 or 2% less than a beef than what they dress out.
Yeah, that's what I heard, is that they dress out, even though they're kind of weigh a little bit more, they're just like a denser.
Yeah, the meat is way heavier. Yeah, that's right. So you only have to eat one burger. You don't have to eat 2 burgers with bison. You'll notice that even with the meat itself, like what a big difference. Maybe it's a little bit more expensive. You know, you're paying $2 more a pound or something for it, but you benefit as much because you're not eating so much water. You're not having to cook out the water like what we're really used to. Yeah,
That was very good.
yeah. You know, it's like you gotta chew it, right? It doesn't go down like a pork sausage right away.
No,
No,
was
you-
good. It had really good flavor.
Yeah.
And I sliced up about a quarter of it, and my son absolutely loves wild game.
Okay.
He's like, oh, this reminds me of moose. Like, it has a nice actual flavor to it. It tastes like meat instead of just tasting like water. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't taste like moose. Moose tastes completely different, but I understand what you're saying is in the fact that it tastes like meat. Like, it has a meat taste to it.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy all my flavors. I enjoy the bison. I enjoy the yak. I enjoy the beef. All of them have their great different spots. You know, the big benefit with bison is the ground. You know, big positive on that part, because you can eat lasagna and stuff and not worrying about having all this grease. I know for me with eating beef, that's my problem when I eat ground beef, is just so much fat that my stomach can't really adjust it. You know, especially since I've been eating so much bison, my stomach has created a knowledge of a tougher, heavier meat than the light, greasy meat. Yeah, no, you won't get leaner than the bison. I mean, for product, yeah. And I was involved in the Bison Association for 9 years as well. This year I just actually got taken off, because that's the longest term you can have is 9 years.
Oh, okay.
So we were involved with trying to keep the industry going, keeping people attached. So one big problem thing with the bison industry is not as lucrative as the bovine industry or a lot of other domestic animals. You know, it's really difficult to go and find a sale. You have to kind of know your people, know your contacts. Yeah, you don't get to go every week to an auction sale and drop them off and see what's going on, right? I think we had someone maybe giving up here, but there's 2 more left.
About the bison industry, like where you can source it from.
Yeah, so it's a big thing on who you know, what you know for the bison sales.
You can't just go buy a thumper bottle baby and raise it.
No, well, I got a lot of people ask me, always calling me wanting a bottle-fed baby, and yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard. You feed this thing and you get all attached to it, and then you want to give it away. And I don't think people recognize a lot of times too what it takes to raise a pet bison.
Oh, I couldn't
Like,
even imagine.
you know, they kind of do it. Well, they're on their own, right? Like, they'll do what they want. They'll push whoever they want over, and they'll try to play with you with their head, because that's what they get to play with. So it's always quite a thing. But yeah, no, like the market itself is always quite interesting. You always gotta try to find your people. There's a few people I know to purchase bison from, and I get a hold of them, and I'll purchase bison from them, and that's always pretty good. But and then to sell some, I've created some markets as well. So it's really good if you want to get involved with the bison industry, to get to know your people, get yourself involved with the association, and get yourself out there a little bit. There's a lot of guys out there who want to buy bison, start raising them just to kind of have a herd and harvest a couple as they go. That works too. thing is eventually the herd grows, gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you have to get out there and kind of harvest them and do something with them. It definitely does help the mother cow if you can take the baby away from her. They don't become late, because you can leave a bull with the herd. It can definitely cause more troubles later on, where you'll get their calving time. They won't be all calving at the same time. A lot of them will be calving late or earlier and stuff. So that's, you want to try to keep them so that they calve together. Yeah. And
So when they throw heifers, I don't know, is it called heifer still?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we call it the same. It's a heifer, heiferette, cow. We call all the same names and everything like that.
But you
Yeah.
just don't steer them. And why is that? Why is it like they just don't get aggressive, or they just?
Yeah, no. It's because they don't get to be in manhood. They're not really a proper breeder until they're 3 years old.
Oh, okay. So then you're
You butcher them before they really get that long due to testosterone in them. It's the main reason why we don't do it. And because how would you castrate them, right? I mean, you're looking for a lot. You're getting yourself into a lot bigger of a job there all of a sudden. Now you want to try to castrate these things. And we as humans make that mistake all the time. We always want to mess with these animals. We always want to, do something with them. And I think that's one of our biggest mistakes a lot of times. Is just letting nature do it for us. We always want to get involved.
I think it's important to get back to that. Like, I think politically we're overrun with government regulations and things like that. And I feel like as a community, you can keep things a lot smaller. You don't need to have federal involvement in a lot of things. I know, like I don't know what it's like for bison, but raising meat for us on a farm in Manitoba, we have to have, like, we want to sell it. It's definitely, it has to be fully government inspected. You can't butcher it yourself and sell it at all.
Oh, so you don't have that program yet in Manitoba?
Oh, no, like you cannot butcher it yourself at all. It has to go through a packager. I mean, if you're going to use it for your own consumption, that's fine. But, and even if you bring it to a butcher and you don't, and you're bringing it back to yourself, it'll have like a big stamp on the paper, not government inspected when you get it back.
Yeah.
So it's like,
we can get that as well. Like you'll say uninspected. We have it now where as long as it's a private sale, you can sell a family a whole animal. And there's only so many you can. So like I think
you have a workaround. You can sell the whole animal live. They butcher it, right? Like that part is like between them and whomever, right? So
they've made that actually legal now, because that was illegal before. So they've actually made that part where you can go out there and purchase it from a person, and you can harvest it and cut it up the way you would like to. Whether
a
it's
lot of our sheep live, and then whoever was coming would just come and butcher it right on the property and just take it away. A lot of times, because if we were shipping it anywhere, if it was leaving the property, it was like a ton of paperwork. We had to have like a tracker ID. Everything would have to be filled out. We'd have to prove that it was vaccinated with all these things. And the people that we were selling it to didn't want it to be vaccinated. So they would, like, if they butcher it on our property, we sell it to them live. Then none of that stuff had to get done because they were buying it live under 2 years old. So then it didn't matter what the end user was using it for.
Yeah.
But like, I just feel like, if you want to raise something and you don't want to vaccinate it and you don't want to use antibiotics, when you cut into the meat if you should eat it or not. Like, you could tell if it's full of tumors or infection or whatever.
Right.
It's not rocket science. Like, you could tell.
I'm a pure plains breeder, so I don't have any woods. But a lot of people are hybriding them, so they're mixing the plains and the woods together to get a mixture of both. You can really tell by the name where they come from. So the woods bison came from the woods, and the plains bison came from the plains. Being more up north, muskeg, so they have higher legs so that they can walk through the muskeg easier, and they have narrower bodies so they can get through the trees and all that stuff.
Thank you.